The hospital lights made the night look fake. They were too bright, too white. Like the world outside the car did not know how scared Grandma Hawa was inside her chest. Her hands were locked around her phone so tight her fingers hurt. The screen showed one word again and again, calling. No answer. Through the windshield, she could see the hospital doors sliding open, then closing, then opening again. People rushed in. People rushed out. Nurses in blue moved fast. A security guard waved a car forward. And somewhere inside that building, her 5-year-old daughter, Lean, was on a bed with machines making soft beeping sounds. But Grandma Hawa was outside, alone, in the car, because her husband had left. Hawa's throat felt dry like sand. Her heart was beating hard like it was trying to break out. She took a shaky breath and called again, calling. Still nothing. Then the phone finally rang back. She grabbed it so fast it almost slipped from her hand. "Yusuf," she whispered, because her voice felt too weak to shout. "Where are you? Come back. Lean is..." A laugh came through the phone. Not a happy laugh, not a loving one, a careless laugh. "Why are you acting like this?" Yusuf said, like she was being silly. "You can handle the hospital on your own?" For a moment, Hawa could not speak. Those words sat in the air between them like a cold stone. Handle it on your own. While their little girl was inside, while Hawa's whole body was shaking, Hawa swallowed hard. "This is not funny," she said. "Leon needs us. I need you. Where did you go?" Yusuf sighed like she was annoying him. "I just stepped out. Relax." Then the call ended. Hawa stared at the phone, hearing the quiet after his voice. She felt something in her chest crack, small but sharp. Not like a loud break, like a tiny tear in cloth that you can't fix once it starts. She looked at the hospital again. The doors opened and closed, opened and closed. And she whispered, "How could you?" Her eyes burned, but she blinked fast. Not now. She could not fall apart now. She forced her hands to stop shaking and pressed her palm to her forehead. Then her mind snapped back to how the night began. It started at home in the simplest way. Lean had been playing on the floor with her small toy cups, giving her dolls tea. She was giggling, talking to herself, making little voices. Hawa was in the kitchen washing rice, listening to Leon's happy sounds and feeling calm for the first time all day. Yusuf was sitting on the couch, scrolling on his phone. He laughed at something on the screen. Hawa didn't ask what it was. She had learned not to. Then Leon got quiet. Not the normal quiet, the wrong quiet. Hawa turned and saw Lean sitting still, her face pale. Her lips looked a little blue. Her eyes were open but unfocused, like she was looking through the room instead of at it. "Honey?" Hawa rushed to her. "Lean, look at Mama." Lean tried to speak, but her words came out weak and messy. Then she made a small sound like she was trying to breathe through a tight straw. Hawa's body went cold. "Yusuf!" she called, her voice suddenly loud. "Come here now!" Yusuf looked up, annoyed like he had been interrupted. What is it?" Hawa scooped Lean into her arms. Lean's head rested on Hawa's shoulder. It felt too heavy. "She can't breathe right," Hawa said, trying to keep her voice steady. "We are going to the hospital." Yusuf stood up slower than Hawa wanted. He walked over and stared at Lean like he was confused. "She was fine a minute ago," he said. "That doesn't matter," Hawa snapped. She had never snapped like that before. It scared her, but she didn't care. "Get the keys." The drive to the hospital felt like a bad dream. Lean made small sounds in the back seat. Hawa kept twisting around to check her, one hand reaching back as if her touch could protect her. She kept talking to Lean, simple words, soft and fast. Mama is here. Stay with me. Breathe with me. Youssef drove with one hand on the wheel and the other still holding his phone. His eyes kept dropping to the screen. Put that away, Hawa said. Focus. I am focusing, he muttered. You're just panicking. Hawa almost yelled, but she didn't want Lean to hear fear in her voice. She swallowed the anger like bitter medicine. At the hospital, everything moved too fast. A nurse asked questions. A different nurse took Lean. A doctor's voice came from somewhere. A clipboard appeared in Hawa's hands. Hawa signed papers without even fully reading them, because her brain was screaming one thought again and again. Please be okay. Please be okay. Youssef hovered behind her, shifting his weight like he wanted to leave. Then a nurse said, We need to take her in now. Leon reached for Hawa. Mama. Hawa moved forward, ready to follow, but Youssef caught her elbow. Wait, he said. Just wait in the car for a second. I need to make a quick call. I'll be right back. Hawa didn't want to go to the car. Every part of her wanted to stay near Leon, but Leon was already being rolled away, and Hawa's legs felt weak, and she still believed deep down that her husband would not abandon his family in a moment like this. So she nodded once like a tired person does when they can't think straight. She walked back outside. She got into the car. She waited and waited. And now, with the hospital doors blinking open and closed in front of her, Hawa realized something terrible. Youssef did not just step aside. He left her there on purpose. Hawa opened the car door and stepped out into the cold night air, her knees shaking but her face turning hard. Fine, she whispered, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. If I'm alone, then I will move alone. And she walked back toward the hospital doors, not knowing yet how much worse this night was going to become. Hawa pushed through the sliding doors like she was walking into a storm. The cold air inside hit her face. It smelled like strong cleaning liquid and fear. The floor was shiny. The lights made everyone look pale and tired. She followed the signs to the emergency area, her eyes searching for Lean like a mother bird searching for her baby. At the desk, a nurse with tired eyes looked up. Name? Lean Youssef, Hawa said quickly, then corrected herself because her mouth was shaking. Lean Al-Khatib. She's 5, please. They took her in. The nurse typed fast. Room 7, she said. But you can't go in yet. Doctor is with her. Hawa nodded. Even though her whole body wanted to run past the desk, she took 2 steps, then stopped, because her legs suddenly felt like water. She sat on a plastic chair near the wall. It was one of those chairs that is cold even through your clothes. Across from her, a father held a small boy who was crying. A woman whispered prayers under her breath. Someone's phone rang too loud in the quiet. Hawa looked down at her hands. They were shaking. She tried to call Youssef again, calling. No answer. Her mind played his voice back like a cruel echo. You can handle the hospital on your own. She blinked hard and stared at the floor, as if staring could stop her from breaking. A nurse walked past with a tray. Another nurse hurried with a bag of medicine. A doctor spoke to a family in low, serious words. Hawa could not hear what he said. But she saw the family's faces change. She thought of Lean's pale face on the living room floor. She thought of Lean saying, Mama. Hawa's chest squeezed so tight it hurt. She stood up again because sitting felt like dying slowly. She walked to the glass window near room 7 and tried to see inside. She could only see shapes, movement, a small body on a bed, a doctor leaning over. A nurse noticed her and came over. She was medium height, with a neat bun and a calm face. Her badge read, Nora. Are you the mother? Nora asked softly. Yes, Hawa said. I'm here. I'm right here. Nora nodded, looking Hawa up and down like she could see the fear in her bones. Your daughter is being checked. She had trouble breathing. Yes, Hawa whispered. She got weak so fast. Nora's voice stayed calm. The doctor will explain soon. For now, breathe. Your child will look at your face when she wakes. She needs you steady. Hawa nodded, but her eyes stung. Her father, she started then stopped. Nora waited, not pushing. Hawa looked down at her phone and her voice came out small. He stepped out. Nora's eyes flickered, just for a second, like she understood more than Hawa said. Okay, Nora replied, gentle but firm. Then we do what we can with who is present. Hawa held on to those words like a rope. With who is present, because Yusuf was not present, and Hawa was tired of making excuses for him. She moved away from the window and went to a quieter corner. Her hands shook as she typed a message. Where are you? Come now. Lean needs you. She watched the screen, seen, no reply. Hawa felt heat rise to her face, a mix of shame and anger. He saw it. He just didn't care enough to answer. A minute later, her phone buzzed. She grabbed it, hope bursting in her chest, then dying fast when she saw the name. Salma. Hawa froze. Salma was Yusuf's ex, the woman whose name used to fill their house like smoke years ago, the woman who would just call to check, then disappear again, the woman Yusuf always said was nothing. Why would Salma be calling Hawa? Hawa didn't answer. Her finger hovered, then she let the phone ring until it stopped. Another buzz. A message from an unknown number. Hawa opened it. A photo loaded slowly. Then it appeared. Yusuf, sitting in a booth at a cafe, smiling like he didn't have a sick child in a hospital. Salma was across from him, her face turned to the side, her hand lifted like she was telling a funny story. On the table were 2 drinks. One had a straw. Hawa's stomach dropped. The message below the photo was short. Your husband is busy. Hawa's vision went blurry. Her mouth opened but no sound came out. For a moment she felt like the building was tipping. She had been afraid for her daughter. Now she was afraid of something else too. Because this was not a mistake, this was a choice. A cold, selfish choice. Hawa's hands shook so hard her phone almost slipped. She pressed it to her chest like she could stop her heart from falling out. Then the emergency door opened, and a doctor stepped into the hallway. He was tall, with calm eyes and a serious mouth. His badge read, Dr. Samir. He looked around, then his eyes landed on Hawa. Lian's mother? He asked. Hawa stepped forward so fast she almost stumbled. Yes, that's me. Dr. Samir spoke in a clear voice. Not loud, not soft, just real. Your daughter had a serious breathing episode. We gave her medicine to open her airway. She is stable right now, but we need to monitor her closely for the next few hours. Hawa nodded quickly, tears spilling now because she could not hold them back. Can I see her? In a moment, he said. First, I need to ask you questions. Any allergies? Any past illness? Any family history? Hawa answered as best she could, wiping her face with trembling fingers. She tried to focus, but her mind kept jumping back to that photo of Yusuf smiling. Dr. Samir watched her carefully. Is her father here? He asked. Hawa's throat tightened. She forced the words out. He stepped out. Noura was standing nearby. She didn't say anything, but her face turned slightly hard. Like she was tired of hearing that excuse from many families. Dr. Samir nodded once. Okay, we will proceed with you. Proceed with you. Like Hawa was the only adult who mattered. Like Hawa was the only adult who showed up. Hawa's phone buzzed again. A call this time. Youssef. Her hand shook as she answered. What? She said, and the word sounded sharper than she meant. Youssef's voice came through, light and careless again. Why are you making a big deal? I told you you can handle it. The hospital people always act dramatic. Lean is fine. Hawa stared at the wall, her eyes burning. I saw the photo, she said quietly. Silence. Then Youssef's breath changed. What photo? Don't lie, Hawa whispered. You're with Salma, while your daughter is in the hospital. His voice lowered, like he wanted to control the situation. It's not what you think. Hawa almost laughed, but it would have sounded like crying. Then what is it? She asked. Tell me what it is. Youssef hesitated, and that hesitation told her everything. Hawa closed her eyes, holding her phone like it was heavy. Come back, she said. Now. Youssef sighed again, irritated. I'll come when I'm done. Stop acting crazy. The call ended. Hawa stood there staring at her dark screen. Then she lifted her head. Her tears were still wet, but her face was changing. Something in her was settling. Not pain, not fear. A decision. Because if Youssef would leave his child in a moment like this, then what else would he leave? And Hawa knew, with a cold clarity, that this night was only the beginning. Hawa did not sit down again. If she sat, her fear would swallow her. So she stayed on her feet, pacing slowly near room 7, counting her own breaths like a quiet game. In, out, in, out. Noura came back with a small paper cup of water. Drink, she said. Hawa took it, but her hands shook so much the water trembled inside the cup. She sipped anyway. The water tasted like nothing, but it reminded her she was still alive. How is she? Hawa asked. Noura's face stayed calm, but her eyes were honest. She is stable, she said, but the doctor wants to watch her closely. Sometimes children get better, then suddenly get worse again. We don't take chances. Hawa nodded fast. Can I see her now? Noura looked toward the room, then back at Hawa. 1 minute, she said. Let me check. Hawa waited with her shoulders tight. Her phone felt heavy in her pocket like a stone. She wanted to call Youssef again. She also wanted to throw the phone across the hallway. Noura returned and opened the door slightly. Come, she said, quietly. Hawa stepped in like the room was sacred. Lean lay on the bed, small under a blanket that looked too big for her. A clear tube rested under her nose. Her chest moved up and down, slowly, like she was climbing a hill with every breath. Her eyelashes were damp, her cheeks were pale. Hawa's heart broke in a clean, sharp way. She moved closer and touched Lean's hand. Lean's fingers curled weakly around Hawa's thumb. Mama, Lean whispered. Barely a sound. I'm here, Hawa said quickly. I'm right here, my love. Lean's eyes opened halfway. She looked confused, like she was waking in a strange dream. Where? Baba? She asked. Hawa's throat tightened so hard she almost couldn't speak. She forced a gentle voice. Baba will come, she said. It was a lie, but it was the kind of lie mothers tell to keep a child from feeling abandoned. Lean's eyes fluttered closed again. Hawa kissed her forehead and felt heat there. warm but not normal warm. Noura stood behind Hawa, watching. "You can step out now," she said softly. "Doctor will talk to you." Hawa didn't want to leave Lean's side, but she knew she had to listen. She let go slowly like her hand was glued to Lean's skin. Outside in the hallway, Dr. Samir waited with a folder. He spoke clearly, like he knew Hawa needed simple words. "Lean's breathing is better because of the medicine," he said. "But her body is still tired. We may need to give her stronger support if her airway tightens again." Hawa nodded. "What does that mean?" "It could mean a special mask," he said. "Or medicine through a small tube. In rare cases, a breathing tube for a short time so she can rest." Hawa stared at him. The words breathing tube made her stomach twist. "Is she going to die?" Hawa asked, and her voice shook so badly she hated how it sounded. Dr. Samir shook his head. "Right now she is stable," he said, "but this is serious. That's why we watch. That's why we act quickly." Hawa pressed her fingers to her lips. Dr. Samir looked at her again. "We need consent for treatment if we have to act fast," he said. "Usually both parents sign, but if the father is not here, you can sign." Hawa felt anger burn behind her eyes. Not at the doctor, not at the nurse, at the empty space where her husband should have been. "I'll sign," she said, voice firm now. "Give it to me." Dr. Samir handed her papers and a pen. The pen felt slippery in her sweaty fingers. Hawa read the lines slowly, forcing her brain to focus. Then she signed her name. Each letter felt like a promise she was making alone. When she finished, Dr. Samir nodded. "Good," he said. "You did the right thing." Hawa wanted to scream, "I shouldn't have to do this alone." Instead, she whispered, "Thank you." Noura stayed with her while they waited. She did not ask questions about Youssef. She just stayed close like a guard. Minutes passed. Then more minutes. Hawa checked the time again and again. 1 hour, then 1 hour and 15. Her phone remained silent. No apology. No, "I'm coming." No, nothing. Hawa's chest felt tight, but now it was not only fear. It was something else too. A cold understanding. Lean's bed was moved to a different room for monitoring. Hawa followed, carrying Lean's small shoes in her hands because they had slipped off. The shoes were tiny. The sight of them made Hawa's eyes burn again. In the new room, Lean slept, still breathing slowly, still tired. A beeping machine kept time like a clock. Hawa sat beside the bed and held Lean's hand. She whispered little stories even though Lean didn't answer. "This is the story of a brave girl," Hawa murmured. "A girl who fights like a lion." Noura came in and adjusted the tube gently. "You're doing well," Noura said. Hawa didn't feel like she was doing well. She felt like she was standing on a thin bridge with water rushing under her feet. Then, after what felt like forever, her phone vibrated. A call. Youssef. Hawa stared at the screen for a second. Her hand frozen. 2 hours. 2 full hours. She answered. Before she could speak, Youssef's voice burst through, broken, messy, shaking. "Hawa!" he cried. "Hawa, please, please listen." He was sobbing so hard she could barely understand him. Hawa sat up straight, a chill sliding down her spine. "What happened?" she asked, her voice low. It's too late," Youssef choked out. I messed up so bad." Hawa's fingers tightened around the phone. Her eyes went to Leyen's sleeping face. Her heart began to pound again, harder than before. "Too late for what?" she whispered. Youssef's crying grew louder, like a person falling downstairs. And Hawa realized something with sudden terrifying clarity. Whatever he was about to say, it wasn't just an excuse. It was the sound of consequences finally catching him. Ahawa stood up so fast her chair scraped the floor. Yusef's crying filled her ear like loud rain. Hawa, please, please, he choked. I made a mistake. I swear I didn't think. Hawa kept her voice low because Lien was sleeping behind the thin curtain. Too late for what? She asked again. Speak clearly. Yusef took a shaky breath. They took her, he said, like he was lost. Salma told me. She said Lien was fine. She said you always panic. She said I should come for 1 hour just to talk. I believed her like an idiot. Hawa's stomach turned, so he didn't just leave. He listened to the one person who should not have mattered. What happened? Hawa asked, slower now. Her voice was calm, but it was the calm of a door locking. Yusef sniffed hard. I got a call from the hospital number. I didn't pick up because I was in the cafe bathroom. My phone was on silent. When I came out, I saw missed calls, missed messages. My hands started shaking. I ran outside. He cried again, louder. And Salma? Salma laughed. She said, see, you're free now. Let her handle it. Hawa felt cold spread through her arms. Then she heard it. A sharper, faster beep from the machine in Lean's room. Not normal, not steady. Noura appeared beside Hawa like she had been waiting. Mother, Noura said quickly, eyes serious. Come, now. Hawa's heart jumped. She pressed the phone tight to her ear. Yusef, stop crying and listen. I'm going back in. Lien needs me. Hawa, I'm coming. Yusef sobbed. I'm driving now. Hawa cut him off. Don't drive like a fool. Just come, now. She ended the call before her voice could shake. Inside the room, Lean's breathing sounded different. It was a small sound, but wrong, thin and tight, like someone squeezing the air out of her. Dr. Samir came in fast, his calm face suddenly sharp with focus. Another nurse followed carrying a metal tray. Noura moved the bed slightly, checking the tube and the monitor. Lean's eyes fluttered open. Her small hand reached up toward Hawa, but it looked weak. Mama, Lean whispered. I'm here, Hawa said, grabbing her hand. I'm right here. Look at me, my love. Breathe with me. In, out. Lean tried. Her chest rose, then stopped like it got stuck. The beeping sped up. Dr. Samir looked at Hawa. Her airway is tightening again, he said. We need to give stronger medicine and support her breathing. Hawa nodded, even though her head felt dizzy. Do it, she said. Do whatever you have to do. Noura placed a small mask over Lean's face, gentle but firm. Lean tried to turn away, scared. Hawa leaned close, her voice soft and steady like a song. It's okay. It's helping you. It's helping you breathe. Lean's eyes watered. I don't like it, she whimpered. I know, Hawa whispered. I know, baby. But you are brave. You are so brave. Dr. Samir spoke to the team in quick, simple orders. A nurse pushed medicine through a tube. Another checked Lean's pulse. The room filled with controlled movement, fast but not messy, like a storm being handled by people who knew storms. Hawa stood at the edge of the bed holding Lean's hand, not moving, not blinking. In her mind, a single thought kept hitting her like a drum. Where is her father? Where is he? Then Dr. Samir looked up. We may need to move her to closer monitoring, he said. A higher care room. She needs to be watched every second tonight. Hawa's lips parted. Is she going to be okay? Dr. Samir nodded once. She is responding, he said. That's good. But we have to be careful. We cannot lose time. Lose time. Hawa thought of Yusef's joke again. Handle the hospital on your own. She wanted to laugh, but the laugh would have turned into a scream. Leon's breathing finally eased a little under the mask. The beeping slowed. Not perfect, just better. Hawa's knees almost gave out from relief. Nora guided Hawa gently to a chair. Sit, Nora ordered. You need strength too. Hawa sat, still holding Leon's hand through the blanket. A few minutes later, Leon drifted back into sleep, worn out. Dr. Samir pulled Hawa aside into the hallway again. "Aye, you did well," he said, and this time his voice was softer. "You stayed calm. That helped her." Hawa nodded, unable to speak for a moment. Then she asked, in a voice that sounded older than before, if her father had been here, would anything be different? Dr. Samir paused carefully. "She needed treatment quickly," he said. "We gave it quickly. But emotionally, yes. Children feel safer when both parents are present, and for decisions it is always easier when both parents are here." Hawa swallowed. But he wasn't. Dr. Samir's eyes were kind but honest. "No," he said, "he wasn't." Footsteps came running down the hallway, fast, messy, uneven. Hawa turned. Yusef stumbled into view, breathless, eyes swollen and red. His hair was out of place. His shirt was wrinkled like he had grabbed it and run. When he saw Hawa, he stopped like he hit a wall. "Hawa," he whispered, broken. Is Lean?" Hawa didn't rush to him. She didn't hug him. She didn't even step closer. She just looked at him, quiet and steady. Behind the glass, Lien slept with a mask beside her pillow and the monitor ticking like a warning. Yusef took one step forward, reaching out his hand like a child begging not to be punished. Hawa finally spoke, her voice small but sharp. "You cried on the phone and said it was too late," she said. Yusef nodded wildly. Because I thought I lost her. I thought..." Hawa cut him off again, eyes hard now. "No," she said, "it's too late for something else." And for the first time that night, Yusef looked confused, like he still didn't understand what he had truly broken. Yusef's hand stayed in the air for a second, or like he expected Hawa to take it and make everything soft again. Hawa did not move. The hallway felt quieter than before, but the quiet was heavy, like a closed door. Yusef swallowed and tried again. "Hawa, I'm sorry. I swear I didn't know it was this serious." Hawa's eyes stayed on him, steady and tired at the same time. "You didn't know," she repeated, "because you didn't want to know." Yusef flinched like she slapped him. He glanced through the glass at Leon's small body on the bed. The monitor beeped slow now, but the sound still felt like a warning. "She's sleeping," he whispered. "She's exhausted," Hawa answered, "from fighting for air." Yusef's lips shook. I came as soon as you got scared," Hawa said, still quiet. "Not as soon as she needed you." His face twisted. Tears came again. But this time Hawa didn't feel pulled by them. She felt tired of them. Noura walked past and gave Yusef one sharp look, the kind adults give when they have seen this story too many times. She didn't say anything. She didn't have to. Yusef rubbed his face with both hands. "Salma told me you always overreact," he said. "She said Len would be fine. She said you just like attention when you're stressed." Hawa's stomach turned, not because of Salma's words, but because Yusef was repeating them like they mattered. "So you believed her," Hawa said. "Over me." Yusef opened his mouth, then closed it again. He looked like a child caught stealing. "I don't know what I was thinking," he whispered. Hawa nodded slowly. "That's the problem," she said. "You don't think when it counts. You run." He tried to step closer. "Please, don't do this now, not here." Hawa didn't step back. She didn't step forward either. "I'm not doing anything," she said. "You did it. You left. You joked. You made me carry this alone." Yusef's shoulders sagged. "I was coming back," he said, desperate. "I was just sitting with your ex while our child was fighting to breathe," Hawa finished for him. Dr. Samir appeared again, holding a clipboard. He looked at Hawa first, then at Yusef. "You are the father?" he asked. Yusef nodded fast. Yes, I'm here." Dr. Samir's face stayed polite, but his voice was firm. "Your daughter is stable at the moment," he said, "but she needs close monitoring tonight. If her breathing tightens again, we will act fast. Her mother has already signed the needed papers." Yusef blinked. "Signed papers?" Hawa answered before the doctor could. "It's because you weren't here." Yusef's eyes dropped to the floor. The shame on his face was real, but Hawa couldn't eat shame. Shame didn't help Lian. Shame didn't bring back the 2 hours he wasted. Dr. Samir continued. "She may need more tests in the morning. For now, no arguing near her, no loud voices. She needs calm." "Yes," Hawa said immediately. Yusef nodded too quickly. "Yes, of course." Dr. Samir looked between them one last time, then walked away. Yusef turned back to Hawa like he was drowning and she was the only solid thing left. "Can I see her?" he asked. Hawa hesitated, then said, quietly, "1 minute. If you make her scared, you step out." Yusef nodded again, eyes wet. "I won't. I promise." They went in together. The room was dimmer than the hallway. Lian slept on her side now, her tiny mouth slightly open. The tube under her nose made her look even smaller. Yusef moved to the bed like he was afraid of waking her shadow. He touched the blanket, not even her skin, and his face crumpled. "My baby," he whispered. Lian didn't wake. Hawa watched him carefully. A part of her wanted to believe his tears meant change, but another part of her remembered how easy it was for him to laugh earlier. Tears could come fast. Change was harder. Yusef looked up at Hawa, voice shaking. "I thought, when the hospital called, I thought she was gone," he said. Hawa's jaw tightened. "And that's when you started acting like a father," she replied. "When you imagined losing her." Yusef lowered his head. Hawa stepped closer to the bed and brushed Lian's hair back gently. She kept her voice soft because Lian could wake at any moment. "I'm staying," Hawa said. "All night." "Me too," Yusef said quickly. Hawa looked at him. "No," she said. "Not next to her. Not yet." His eyes widened. "Hawa, please." "You left me alone in the car," Hawa whispered, the words tight with pain. "You left me alone in the hall. You left me alone in the decisions. Tonight, you don't get to stand here and pretend you were always here." Yusef's mouth trembled. He looked like he might argue. Then he remembered where he was and swallowed the words. He nodded slowly. "Okay," he said, broken. "What do you want me to do?" Hawa pointed gently toward the door. "Go sit outside," she said. "Be quiet. If the doctor needs you, they will call you. For once, do what you're told." Yusef stepped out. Hawa stayed by Lian's bed, her hand resting on the blanket, her eyes on her daughter's face. She listened to the steady beep. She felt the ache in her chest settle into something heavier and clearer. This night wasn't only about a hospital. It was about who shows up when love is tested. and Hawa knew deep down that even if Lean got better, their family would not go back to the way it was before. Hawa did not sleep. She sat in the hard chair beside Leon's bed and watched her daughter's chest rise and fall like she was counting waves so she wouldn't drown. The night felt long in a special way, like time was sticky. Every few minutes, Hawa would look at the monitor, then look at Lean's face, then look at the small tube under her nose. She learned the rhythm of the beeps. When the beep stayed steady, her shoulders loosened just a little. When they changed even a tiny bit, her whole body tightened again. Yusuf sat outside in the hallway like a scolded child. Hawa could see him through the glass when she stood up to stretch her legs. He kept rubbing his hands together. He kept looking at his phone. He kept looking at the door like he wanted to run in and fix everything with one big sorry. But sorry didn't heal lungs. Near dawn, Lean shifted in her sleep and made a small whimper. Hawa leaned in immediately. "It's okay, my love," Hawa whispered. "Mama is here." Lean's eyes opened halfway. She looked around slowly like she was checking the world. Then her gaze landed on Hawa, and she relaxed a little. "Water?" Lean murmured. Hawa pressed the call button, and Nora came in quietly, as calm as always. She checked Lean's breathing, checked her temperature, then brought a tiny spoon and a little cup. "Small sips," Nora said to Lean, smiling gently. Lean drank with tiny swallows. Hawa watched every swallow like it was a miracle. When Lean finished, her eyes drooped again. Nora adjusted the blanket, then she looked at Hawa, really looked at her, like she was seeing the mother's fear behind the mother's calm. "You are doing everything right," Nora said softly. Hawa's throat tightened. "It doesn't feel like it," she admitted. Nora nodded once. "It never feels like it," she said. "But you are here. That matters." Hawa glanced toward the hallway. "He's here too now," she said, and her voice carried no comfort. Nora didn't comment. She just said, "The doctor will speak with you in the morning. Try to rest your eyes even for 10 minutes. After Nora left, Hawa stared at Lean's face and thought of the word Nora used. Here. It was a simple word. And it was everything. A little later, Dr. Samir came in with a clipboard and a calmer expression than the night before. He checked Lean carefully, listened to her lungs, watched her breathing, then stepped back. "She's improving," he told Hawa. "Still needs monitoring, but she is responding well." Hawa's breath finally came out like she'd been holding it for hours. "So, she'll be okay?" "She's on the right path," he said. "We will do more checks today to understand why this happened and how to prevent it." Hawa nodded. "Tell me what to do." "I'll do it." Dr. Samir's eyes softened. "You already are," he said. Then he looked toward the door. "I should also speak to the father." Hawa's jaw tightened. "He's outside." Dr. Samir stepped out. Hawa didn't follow, but she could see through the glass. She watched Yusuf stand up too fast, like he'd been waiting for a chance to look useful again. She watched him wipe his face and nod quickly as Dr. Samir spoke. Then something happened that made Hawa's stomach twist. Yusuf put his hand over his heart and shook his head like a man performing pain. He looked down, eyes wet again, like he was trying to look like the most sorry person in the world. Hawa didn't know why, but it made her angry in a new way, because she had seen him cry now, but she had also seen him laugh earlier, and the laughing version of him felt more honest than the crying version. Dr. Samir left, and Yusuf came back inside slowly, like he was afraid Hawa would shout. He stopped near the bed and spoke softly. "Doctor says she's improving." Hawa didn't answer right away. She kept her hand on Lian's blanket. "Yes," she said finally. Yusuf swallowed. Hawa, please. I know I failed. I know I did. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it." Hawa looked at him then, really looked. His eyes were red, his face was tired, his voice was gentle. If someone saw him in that moment, they might believe he was a good man who made one mistake. But Hawa wasn't seeing one moment. She was seeing a pattern. "You want to know what to do?" Hawa asked quietly. Yusuf nodded fast. "Yes." Hawa spoke slowly, each word clear. "Stop blaming anyone else," she said. "Stop saying I didn't know. Stop saying she told me. You are a grown man. You are a father. You chose where to be." Yusuf's mouth opened, then closed. He looked down at his shoes. Hawa continued, her voice steady. "If you want to help, you start by telling the truth, all of it." Yusuf looked up, confused. "I told you—" "No," Hawa cut in, still calm. "You told me pieces, you told me excuses, you haven't told me the truth." Yusuf's eyes darted away for a second. That tiny movement was enough. Hawa leaned back in her chair. "How long has Salma been back in your life?" she asked. Yusuf froze. Hawa watched his face carefully. The silence was the answer he didn't want to give. His voice came out small. "Hawa, please, not now." Hawa nodded toward Lean, still asleep. "Not in front of her," she agreed. "But today, we talk, because I'm done being the only adult in the room." Yusuf swallowed hard and nodded slowly, like a man stepping toward a door he didn't want to open. Hawa didn't feel happy about it. She felt tired. But for the first time since the night began, she also felt something else. Control. Not control over the hospital, not control over what happened. Control over what she would accept from now on. Lian stirred and opened her eyes again, and Hawa's face softened instantly. "Mama?" Lian whispered. "I'm here," Hawa said, leaning close and brushing her hair back. "Always." Lian's small fingers reached for Hawa's hand. Hawa held on, steady and warm, while the day finally began. Morning light slipped through the hospital blinds in thin lines, landing on Lian's blanket like quiet stripes. Lian was awake now. Not fully bright like normal, but awake enough to look at Hawa and whisper, "Mama, can we go home?" Hawa kissed her forehead gently. "Soon, my love," she said. "Soon." Dr. Samir returned with a calmer face than the night before. He checked Lian again, listened to her breathing, then nodded. "She is improving," he told Hawa. "We will keep her a bit longer. Then you can go home with a plan." "A plan?" Hawa asked. Dr. Samir held up a sheet. "It looks like she had a strong airway reaction," he explained simply. "Like her breathing path got tight. Some children have this from allergies, dust, cold air, or even a hidden chest problem. We will give medicine you can use at home, and we will teach you how to watch for warning signs." Hawa listened carefully, repeating the important words in her head so she wouldn't forget. Warning signs. Medicine. Follow-up. Then Dr. Samir looked toward Yusuf. "Both parents should know the plan," he said. Yusuf stepped forward quickly, eager to look helpful. "Yes, doctor. I'm here." Dr. Samir didn't smile. He just spoke clearly. "If this happens again, you do not wait. You do not assume it will pass. You act." Yusuf nodded too fast. "I understand." Hawa kept her face calm, but inside she thought, "You understood last night too. You just didn't care." After the doctor left, Lean fell back asleep. Noura came in to remove one tube and replace it with something smaller. Lean winced, then relaxed when Hawa held her hand. "You're brave," Hawa whispered. Lean's eyes opened a little. "Baba cried," she murmured. Hawa's heart pinched. "Yes," she said softly. "He was scared." Lean blinked slowly. "Will he stay?" Hawa froze for one breath. Then she chose her words with care. "You will always have Mama," she said, "and you will always be safe." Leon nodded like that was enough, because children hold on to the simplest truths. When Leon slept again, Hawa finally stood and walked into the hallway. Yusef followed her immediately like a shadow. They stopped near a quiet corner where the voices from the nurses' station sounded far away. Hawa turned and faced him. "Now," she said. Yusef's eyes filled again. "Hawa." "No tears," Hawa said, not raising her voice. "Tell the truth." Yusef swallowed. His mouth opened and closed once. Then he exhaled like a man letting go of a heavy lie. "Salma has been calling me for months," he admitted. Hawa's chest tightened, but she didn't flinch. "Why?" "She said she was lonely," he said quickly. "She said she had no one. She said she missed how I used to listen." Hawa stared at him. "And you believed her again?" Yusef rubbed his forehead. "At first it was just messages," he said. "Then she wanted to meet. I kept telling myself it was harmless." Hawa's voice stayed flat. "Harmless," she repeated. "While your wife is at home raising your child," Yusef's shoulders dropped. "I didn't touch her," he said fast, like that was the most important part. Hawa's eyes sharpened. "This isn't only about touching," she said. "It's about choosing." Yusef's face crumpled. "I made a mistake." Hawa shook her head slowly. "Last night was not one mistake," she said. "Last night was your real heart showing." He looked confused, like he still wanted to escape into excuses. "I came back," he said. "I'm here now." Hawa leaned closer just a little. Her voice became quiet, but it carried weight. "You came back when you got scared," she said. "You called me crying because you finally felt consequences. That's not love. That's fear." Yusef's lips trembled. "What do you want me to do? I'll cut her off. I'll block her. I'll do anything." Hawa took a slow breath. She thought of the car, the cold chair, the beeping machine, Lean asking, "Where Baba?" Hawa's voice didn't shake when she answered. "You should have done anything before you left me alone," she said. Yusef's eyes widened. "Hawa, please." Hawa lifted her hand, stopping him gently, like stopping a child from stepping into traffic. "Listen," she said. "Right now, Leon needs peace, so we will not fight in front of her." He nodded quickly, desperate. "Yes, yes." Hawa continued, clear and calm. "But when we leave this hospital, I am not going back to the same life, not the same lies, not the same jokes that hurt. I will take Leon to Auntie Muna's house for a while." Yusef's face fell. "You're leaving me." "I'm protecting my child," Hawa corrected. "And I'm protecting myself." He reached out again, then stopped himself. "Can I still see her?" Hawa nodded once. "If you are a father," she said. "A real one, not a visitor who shows up when it's convenient." Yusef started to cry again, but Hawa didn't soften. She wasn't cruel. She was awake. A few hours later, Lean was cleared to go home with medicine and instructions. Hawa packed Lean's tiny shoes and her little hair clip. She held Lean close as they walked out, step by step, into the daylight. Outside, Leanne squinted at the sun. "Mama," she said, "are we okay?" Hawa kissed her cheek. "Yes," she promised. "We are okay." Yusuf followed behind them, carrying a small bag, quiet for once. At the curb, Dahawa stopped and looked back at the hospital doors, the place where she learned the hardest truth. You can't build a safe home with someone who runs when life gets hard. She took Lean's hand, lifted her chin, and walked forward. Not as a woman begging to be chosen, but as a mother choosing what matters. If this story made you feel something, anger, sadness, hope, tell me in the comments, what would you do if someone left you alone at the worst moment? And if you want more stories with strong twists and powerful endings, like the video, subscribe and share it with someone who needs courage today.